In horror stories, there are only victims and monsters, and no one escapes unscathed. The story is portrayed as a monster itself, one that will consume everyone involved. A touching phone conversation occurs between a mother and her child Logan. The mother apologizes for being away on work trips, while Logan and their dad watch Night Springs. The conversation reveals a close family bond despite the separation caused by work commitments. Agents arrive in Cauldron Lake to investigate a murder case. Anderson is given the lead role, with Casey acting as backup. The timing of the murder coinciding with their arrival suggests the killer might be sending them a message. At the crime scene, Deputy Mulligan mistakenly assumes Casey is in charge instead of Agent Anderson. The deputy mentions that there are organs outside the victim's body and that some out-of-towners witnessed something suspicious in the woods at night. The investigation begins with a review of previous case facts using a mind palace technique. The scene is set near an abandoned convenience store and campground in a fenced-off area. The relationship between Casey and Anderson shows professional respect and light banter. At the crime scene, the body is found positioned ritualistically on a table. The victim's heart was removed, with bruising on the wrists from cargo straps. Multiple boot prints suggest more than one killer. The victim is identified as Robert Nightingale, a former FBI agent. Background on Nightingale reveals he went missing in 2010 after leaving the FBI due to his partner's death, which led to depression, alcoholism, and paranoia. The crime scene shows evidence of premeditation, with equipment suggesting the killers were waiting for their victim. Investigation suggests Nightingale emerged from the lake before his murder. The killing appears to be a ritual rather than random violence, with Nightingale viewed as a container for something rather than a person. The lake appears to have a significant connection to the case. A mysterious typewritten manuscript page is discovered, appearing to predict or narrate current events. The text suggests someone is watching and playing a game with the investigators, leaving deliberate clues and messages. The investigation leads to a decision to examine Nightingale's body at the town morgue. The manuscript page suggests there's more to discover, with the killer apparently creating their own narrative and turning events into a twisted story for unknown purposes. A gruesome crime scene reveals a child's lunchbox featuring Alex Casey, a fictional detective. The investigation uncovers some disturbing elements, including a removed heart and tripod tracks that dead end, suggesting the possibility of a recorded murder. The tracks indicate potential video recording equipment was used at the scene. The Federal Bureau of Control, FBC, appears on scene, claiming jurisdiction over alleged toxic volcanic gas. The FBC is known to handle unusual cases, though their presence raises questions. A mysterious manuscript page has been discovered that seems to directly address the investigators in an unprecedented way. The investigation moves to a local diner in Bright Falls. Coffee-fueled conversations hint at deeper mysteries within the town. The atmosphere is tense but welcoming as local law enforcement meets with federal agents to discuss the case. Sheriff Tim Breaker introduces agents Saga Anderson and Alex Casey to key witnesses. The Bookers, who discovered the crime scene, are being treated as witnesses rather than suspects. The situation involves examining past case files and discussing a history of missing persons around Cauldron Lake. The Bookers reveal they were researching Alan Wake, a missing novelist, when they encountered bizarre events. They witnessed a naked man emerging from the lake, followed by masked attackers calling themselves the Cult of the Tree, who violently attacked the man with knives. The victim is identified as Robert Nightingale, an FBI agent missing for 13 years. A mysterious page appears to predict events and invite further investigation. The Bookers possess a necklace with 2 triangles, potentially connected to the Cult of the Tree. A strange encounter with Rose, a waitress, suggests Agent Anderson has forgotten traumatic events involving her daughter. Rose claims to know Anderson, but Anderson has no recollection of their supposed history. The conversation reveals an upcoming festival where deer masks are common. The investigation moves to a shared morgue facility. The examination reveals unusual findings, including signs of post-mortem submersion and mysterious writing inside the victim's chest cavity. Another manuscript page is discovered with cryptic predictions. A supernatural encounter occurs where Nightingale's corpse animates and attacks. Light appears to be effective against the entity, matching the predictions in the manuscript pages. The situation defies rational explanation and confirms supernatural elements. Sheriff Breaker vanishes mysteriously during the chaos. The investigation points back to Cauldron Lake, with manuscript pages predicting future events. The heart from the corpse disappears, and the team must confront the reality of supernatural forces at play. It is revealed that Nightingale was originally in Bright Falls pursuing a writer named Alan Wake. The case connects to historical events from 13 years ago, suggesting a deeper conspiracy involving the cult of the tree and supernatural occurrences around Cauldron Lake. The connection between Alex Casey and Alan Wake becomes clearer as strange events unfold. 10 years ago, Casey started receiving mysterious letters containing fragments of prose describing murders. These fragments turned out to be from Alan Wake's crime books, which a murder cult was using as inspiration for real-life killings in New York. The investigation reveals that Nightingale is trapped in something called an overlap. The written pages seem to predict future events, suggesting either someone is orchestrating everything or has supernatural foresight. The case operates on strange logic that needs to be understood to find solutions. At a restricted area, Saga Anderson encounters Ilmos, a local tour guide, and Steven, an FBC worker checking monitoring equipment. Ilmos knows about the murder and mentions Watery, a nearby coffee-themed amusement park. The conversation reveals connections to Finnish heritage through Saga's sweater. The investigation of Breaker's disappearance raises questions about Nightingale's involvement. Strange events like spontaneous combustion occur at the crime scene. Footprints lead to Cauldron Lake, connecting to an overlap through a mysterious tree threshold. Inside a witch's hut, Saga discovers that light can dispel dark substances. Various objects appear mysteriously illuminated, including manuscript pages. The hut seems to be a gateway to the overlap where Nightingale might be found. A ritual involving a witch sign and Nightingale's heart becomes crucial to accessing the overlap. The heart, stolen by a witch, is located at the general store. The investigation reveals an organized group of killers rather than a lone perpetrator. At the abandoned Cauldron Lake General Store, Saga encounters a threatening cultist wearing a deer mask and wielding an axe. The store shows signs of cult activity, where members had been planning their ritual while appearing to engage in normal activities. Saga enters the overlap alone after losing contact with Casey. The environment becomes nightmarish and loops mysteriously. Strange transmissions and voices filter through, warning of danger and mentioning a dark presence. In a shocking turn of events, Saga encounters Alan Wake himself, who appears disoriented after being missing for 13 years. Wake warns about a dark presence and emphasizes the importance of collecting manuscript pages for survival. A mysterious figure is pursuing someone called the Writer through dark tunnels leading to Caldera Street Station. The Writer is known to despise Hemingway and Boski Wake. At the station, shadows move as the Writer's cult, known as the Cult of the Word, lies in wait. There are mentions of forbidden access to a lake and someone being reborn from hate. A group called the FBC appears to be investigating strange events at Cauldron Lake following incidents in New York. They have now located a writer they were searching for and are taking them to a field office in Bright Falls. A family conversation occurs where Logan has suffered a minor concussion from slipping in the shower. The parents discuss the incident, with the mother trying to lighten the mood by making a board game reference about Colonel Mustard. The narrative shifts to questioning about Robert Nightingale from 2010 and mysterious pages with a violently scratched-out writer's name. The pages appear to be titled Return, though details remain unclear as memories seem jumbled and nightmare-like. The scene changes to a talk show setting where Alan Wake is introduced as a guest. The host mentions Alan is there to discuss his latest book, with a house band called Old Gods of Asgard playing. There seems to be confusion about whether this event actually occurred. Discussion centers around a book called Initiation, which Alan claims not to have written. The book apparently features a meta-narrative about a writer trapped in a nightmare searching for a forgotten manuscript, with appearances by a character named Alex Casey. The environment becomes threatening, leading to an escape from the studio. The experience feels like a ritual of waking from a nightmare. A familiar writing space is discovered with index cards and plot boards containing warnings and notes about someone named Scratch. Another talk show segment features Alex Casey, described as an actor playing a detective in films based on Alan's books. The discussion revolves around adaptation choices and Alan's feelings about the film versions of his work. An encounter with a mysterious janitor occurs, who speaks in riddles and provides a key to the basement. The janitor suggests finding a tool that could help build an exit, mentioning a shoebox containing something important. Deep in a mysterious dark place, searching for answers and following cryptic clues. A strange phone call comes through on a payphone from an unknown caller who seems familiar yet distant. The conversation has an eerie sense of déjà vu, suggesting this has happened before. At Caldera Street Station, the entrance is mysteriously missing and needs to be revealed using a special lamp. An encounter occurs with Alice Casey, who's investigating murders connected to a manuscript. The manuscript apparently contains details of murders that a cult is following. After obtaining Casey's gun, the focus shifts to fighting through shadow creatures blocking the way to the subway station. The combination of gun and flashlight proves effective against these dark entities. These events seem to connect to previously written stories. Meeting Tim Breaker, who's working on mapping the dreamlike environment. He mentions searching for someone named Warlin Dorr and offers access to supplies. The station holds significant meaning and contains hidden elements that can be revealed with light. The story reveals connections to a missing FBI agent who investigated a murder cult. The cult leaves clues forming a pattern across the city. The dark place responds to the story elements, opening new paths forward through the tunnels. Information surfaces about a cult that performs rituals based on crime books with potential connections to someone called Mr. Scratch. The tunnels hold dark secrets of ritual sacrifices and urban legends about cult activities. A breakthrough connection occurs with FBI Agent Saga Anderson, revealing being trapped in a dark place under Cauldron Lake. The conversation suggests progress toward escape, but also hints at ongoing danger from a dark presence. The journey leads to Parliament Tower, raising questions about reality versus illusion. Discovery of Alice's photography equipment and a mysterious photo of someone called Scratch creates new concerns about potential stalking. Reflections on the past reveal a complex relationship between creative ambitions and personal life. Photography played a significant role, intertwining with writing careers and creating both opportunities and complications in relationships. A regretful account details a troubled relationship with Alan that ended tragically. After setting up an unexpected doctor's appointment in Washington, things went badly wrong and Alan allegedly drowned. Years later, mysterious nighttime disturbances began, including typewriter sounds and voices. The haunting presence became violent, manifesting as both Alan and a monstrous version of him. Motion sensor cameras were installed to capture evidence of these supernatural occurrences, turning the nightmarish experiences into art for a new exhibition called The Dark Place. A writer attempted to escape the dark place through storytelling, creating a recursive narrative where they found themselves writing within their own story, only to discover an empty writer's room. Alan reveals being trapped in a nightmare dimension called the Dark Place for 13 years. His evil doppelganger, Mr. Scratch, has also escaped and aims to transform reality into a nightmare during the upcoming Deerfest celebration. The story explains how fiction interacts with the dark place to alter reality. A magical device called the Clicker could potentially stop Mr. Scratch and reverse the supernatural events unfolding in Bright Falls. The Cult of the Tree, known for wearing deer masks and performing rituals, possesses the Clicker. Their connection to Mr. Scratch remains unclear, though Wake seems to have hidden knowledge about their involvement. The narrative shifts to Ed and Tammy, who traveled to Bright Falls. Ed, a struggling playwright, joined Tammy on her research trip, leading to an argument and his mysterious encounter in the dark woods. Agent Anderson proceeds alone to investigate the cult situation, while colleagues stay behind to question Wake further. The investigation leads to Watery, where strange encounters suggest reality might be shifting. In Watery, locals treat Saga as a former resident, creating confusion about altered memories. The conversation reveals details about Coffee World, upcoming Deerfest celebrations, and hints at the cult's presence beneath the surface of normal town life. The spare set of keys needed are located at Coffee World in the gift shop safe. While the main road is flooded, an alternate trail leads there. Strangely, the Callis family has false memories about someone living in the trailer park with Logan, suggesting the horror story is altering people's memories and potentially brainwashing them. The situation in town is becoming more concerning as both the Diner witches and the Callis family have distorted memories about Logan. Wake warned that the horror story would affect people's minds, possibly turning them into Taken. It's unclear if this is the work of the cult, the story itself, or both. The town of Watery has survived for over a century through Finnish Sisu determination. Despite economic struggles from the closed lumber mill and declining fishing industry, some locals, like the Kala brothers, tried to keep the town alive through ventures like Coffee World and the Kavala Knights Motorcycle Club. Walking through the oppressive woods toward the amusement park, with unsettling carnival music playing, creates an eerie atmosphere. The Costalas' false memories about Logan living in Watery are particularly disturbing since they now involve her daughter. A threatening encounter occurs with a monster wielding hatchets. Meanwhile, a dark entity named Scratch prowls the forest, controlling an army of Taken. He seeks the Clicker device to make his horror story become reality, using it as a catalyst to overtake and transform the real world. At Bright Falls Blend Coffee Shop, Anna experiences a frightening incident at the well, being overcome by vertigo and falling into darkness. The quest continues to find both the trailer keys and the Clicker, while avoiding contaminated water. A strange encounter reveals supposedly long-lost relatives, Uncle Odin and others claiming family connections. However, these individuals appear to be just as affected by the horror story as other locals, making their claims suspicious. The trailer park investigation becomes intensely personal, with reminders of Logan everywhere. The clicker is discovered to be in the possession of the cult, specifically connected to the Cauldron Knights motorcycle club. A violent confrontation reveals Deputy Mulligan and Thornton as cult members. The cult of the tree is exposed to be more complex than initially thought, with multiple leaders rather than a single authority figure. The situation escalates as Mulligan and Thornton transform into Taken. A parade float becomes crucial as a key to accessing an overlap similar to Cauldron Lake. The ritual requires specific artistic elements to activate the supernatural passage. A dark secret involving Monica Thompson's murder by Mulligan and Thornton is revealed. They disposed of her body in a well, mirroring historical crimes. This secret contributed to their transformation as darkness consumed them. In a twisted scene, the corrupted Mulligan and Thornton reveal their true nature, consumed by shadows. The overlap ritual centers around water's dark history, with art serving as the key to accessing supernatural realms. In a desperate situation, someone is searching for a device called the clicker while being trapped in what appears to be a nightmarish loop. The scene is tense and urgent, with obstacles preventing direct progress forward, forcing exploration of alternative routes. A complex situation unfolds involving a horror story that has somehow become real. There are concerns about family members being trapped within this story. Someone named Scratch appears to be a key antagonist, while the clicker device seems to hold power to undo the horror narrative. Multiple attempts to contact people named Casey and David have gone unanswered. A tense confrontation occurs involving the FBI and discussions about the nature of storytelling and its dangerous real-world implications. The dark place is mentioned as a location where normal rules don't apply, and there's talk about manuscripts and visions of future events. The situation escalates as someone has escaped from the dark place along with an entity called Scratch. They're searching for Casey while experiencing intense pressure sensations. The scene involves cultists and FBI agents, creating a chaotic and dangerous environment. The Federal Bureau of Control takes over the investigation from the FBI, causing tension between agencies. The clicker remains a crucial item that someone decides to keep secret. There's determination to find Casey and protect family members from an ongoing horror story. The scene shifts to a surreal performance about someone's life story. A mysterious phone call adds to the intrigue, with the caller having important information about Parliament Tower and a manuscript titled Return. The situation becomes increasingly complex, with mentions of cosmic significance. A meeting occurs with Tom Zane, who appears identical to another character. They discuss artistic collaboration and escape plans involving a manuscript called Return. The conversation reveals connections between film, writing, and reality in a metaphysical way. The abandoned hotel provided a perfect setting for a Casey story, creating an atmospheric entrance hall where a mysterious murder took place. The story revolves around the cult, an immersive theatrical experience where audience members could participate throughout the hotel. The play was shrouded in mystery, with its only written manuscript lost and passed down orally between theater companies. The production transformed various areas of the hotel, including converting Room 104 into Room 225 for the prop room. The theater troupe was busy constructing their own Wickerman set piece. The cult in the play was called The Cult of the Tree, featuring performers wearing deer masks as a backwoods echo of the original Cult of the Words. The hotel was chosen not just for its cheap rent, but for its ocean view and reputation for being haunted. Dark stories of murder, death, and suicide surrounded the location. Legend had it that an actual cult once performed an unspeakable ritual in the ballroom, adding to its eerie atmosphere. A key location was the writer's room, described as where the devil rewrites reality while God sleeps. A mysterious celebrity was cast as the devil, always wearing a cat mask and never breaking character. The actor's identity remained unknown, with some crew members joking they had hired the actual devil to play himself. The murder victim was a renowned leading lady who claimed to have seen the play's lost original script. She played the role of the Muse and stayed in room 108, where the murder occurred. The devil character, revealed to be targeting her specifically, executed a masterful series of scenes leading to their final fatal encounter. The story intersects with FBI agent Saga Anderson, who appears momentarily to discuss the importance of finding a device called the clicker. This tool supposedly had the power to destroy a dark presence and might be key to escape. The scene shifts to Parliament Tower, with urgent mentions of a manuscript called Return. The narrative moves to a Victorian manor where Saga encounters Rose and various residents, including Norman and Mandy May. Something seems wrong with Tor and Odin, with reports of strange electrical incidents and concerning behavior. The atmosphere grows increasingly tense as Saga investigates. Upon finding Odin in rough shape, there's discussion of darkness in the water and special powers running in the Anderson family. The cult apparently had been trying to recruit Tor and Odin, viewing them as legendary figures with unique abilities. In a desperate situation, Tor experienced a mental breakdown as dark forces overtook him. He tried fighting against what felt like a bad trip, knowing he needed to warn someone about Tom's return. The brothers were getting too old to handle this threat, though Tor had managed to call someone for help before being overwhelmed. Cynthia Weaver intervened in a tense situation involving Tor at a pond. However, conflicting accounts emerged about Tor's whereabouts, with some claiming he was at the wellness center, while others insisted they saw him enter the water. The phrase "Wake has returned" became significant in uncovering the truth. Rose revealed crucial information after hearing "Wake has returned," providing access to restricted areas and a mysterious page. Meanwhile, Saga made progress with a jukebox, finding a missing record with Odin's assistance. A connection between the horror story and Tor's disappearance became apparent. Odin Anderson experienced dark visions while reflecting on family history. Past memories surfaced about Saga's childhood and the complex relationship between the Anderson brothers. Time was running out as darkness threatened to consume them both. The search for Angus's remorse record intensified as its significance became clear. Cynthia's involvement in Tor's situation suggested darker motives. The dark presence was using Cynthia to prevent communication with Tor, leading to the discovery that the record was hidden in Cynthia's bathtub. Cynthia's past connection with Thomas Zane came to light. Her obsession and jealousy regarding Barbara revealed deeper motivations. The dark water began taking control, pushing Cynthia to take action against Tor, viewing him as a threat to her relationship with Tom. A dangerous confrontation unfolded in a loop-like environment. The search for Tor led through dark waters and shifting realities. Despite the overwhelming darkness, determination to reach and rescue him remained strong. A crucial interaction revealed the existence of a clicker and its importance to the story. Questions about Logan's role in the narrative emerged, leading to concerns about family involvement and manipulation of events. The exchange highlighted the complex relationships between reality and fiction. A profound conversation reveals the existence of a special power, being a seer who can look into people's minds and see truth beyond lies. This ability is connected to having a special mind place and is apparently a family trait passed down through generations. The conversation hints at a complex family history with supernatural elements. The truth about being a seer comes to light, along with the revelation of family connections to supernatural abilities. This power explains the ability to see through deceptions and remember things others have forgotten. A complicated family history emerges, involving regrets and broken relationships between generations. A dramatic flashback to 1988 describes an intense confrontation at Cauldron Lake between supernatural beings. The scene involves ancient deities and mysterious dark forces, culminating in a violent encounter that results in serious injury and loss. The narrative shifts to a tense situation involving Agent Estes, who is injured and hiding from a dangerous entity called the Shadow. The scene reveals crucial information about invaded people and the presence of Alan Wake, described as a paratilitaryan being held in custody. The situation becomes more complex with the discovery of Casey, who appears to be affected by a mysterious shadow force. The horror story is actively changing reality, causing real consequences, including the apparent death of Logan. The mission involves restoring power to access crucial areas. The narrative reveals the presence of the CCA brothers, cult leaders being held in cells. The FBC, Federal Bureau of Control, has special equipment designed to combat the shadow threat, though their resources are limited due to heavy losses at their Lake House facility. A confrontation occurs with the imprisoned cult leaders, who express intense hostility and claim superior understanding of the situation. The scene builds tension around the possession of a mysterious device called the clicker and its importance to the unfolding events. A major plot twist reveals that the person believed to be Alan Wake is actually an imposter named Scratch. The realization comes that Wake remains trapped in the dark place, and Scratch had been manipulating everyone to obtain the clicker. This revelation forces a complete reassessment of the situation. The story continues with discussions about trust and collaboration between characters. The FBC offers classified information about the situation, suggesting that the horror story's effects might be localized to the town area. This opens possibilities for understanding and potentially resolving the crisis. A discussion about family challenges and dangerous work unfolds, with mentions of late nights, travel, and alternate realities threatening loved ones. There appears to be confusion about past events involving someone named Logan and conflicting memories about living arrangements in Virginia with David. The story seems to be altering memories, creating confusion about what is real. There are contradicting recollections about Logan being alive or not, and uncertainty about divorce status and living situations. Someone warns that the story could be used as a weapon against them. Discussion shifts to a group called the Cult of the Tree. The cult was created as a neighborhood watch to protect Watery and deal with entities called Taken. Despite its ominous name, they position themselves as good guys fighting against supernatural threats. The cult operates by hunting and eliminating Taken using deer masks. They function as a secret organization keeping the town safe since 2013. Their methods, while extreme, are focused on protecting the community from supernatural threats. The cult views Alan Wake as a threat because of his connection to Cauldron Lake and the nightmare that hit Bright Falls in 2010. They believe his writing causes monsters to emerge from the lake. There is mention of someone called Scratch, who appears to be Wake's evil double. The narrative describes a scene with Agent Yun at a local sheriff station, now under Federal Bureau of Control jurisdiction. The atmosphere is tense as strange noises and unexplained events begin to occur, leading to chaos when the lights go out. Focus turns to a device called the clicker, which supposedly has the power to change stories and alter reality. There is debate about whether information about the clicker can be trusted, given that it came from Scratch rather than Wake himself. Plans are forming to use the clicker to rescue Wake from the dark place. It is revealed that the clicker can amplify other works of art besides writing, potentially offering a way to change reality and bring Wake back at Cauldron Lake. Background on the cult is provided, explaining how they obtained FBC files and used them to fight the horror in the lake. They discovered the light switch and developed methods to combat Taken using it, showing their dedication to protecting the town. Preparations are made for a major operation involving lights, containment cells, and a performance by aging rockers. The plan involves using music as the artistic medium to bring Wake back, combining rock and roll with supernatural intervention. The operation begins with a performance meant to guide Wake out of darkness. However, Taken appear and attack during the show, creating chaos despite the prepared defenses and power of rock music. The pursuit of photographing shadows became an obsessive nighttime activity. There was a growing sense that something important lurked in the darkness, waiting to be discovered and documented, though the exact nature of what was being sought remained unclear. A contemplation on the hidden world that exists parallel to everyday reality, with shadows and darkness containing mysterious faces. Photography serves as a tool to capture and contain these infinite possibilities, freezing moments of reality to prove the existence of these shadowy entities. A character named Saga Anderson needed to be written into the story, returned to combat the darkness. However, Scratch interfered before the edits could be completed. The situation at Parliament Tower became increasingly dangerous, with Scratch attempting to use the story for escape. A tense confrontation revealed complex layers of deception and manipulation. Multiple parties were involved in helping, including Alice, who was now in danger. The situation involved mysterious doors and reaching through different realities, causing unintended consequences. The search led to Poet Cinema seeking a murder site where a film called Nightless Night was playing. The theater represented a gateway between realities, raising questions about escaping from ideas and stories that live in one's mind. The investigation at the cinema revealed connections to a mysterious cult and their initiation ceremonies. The place held special significance and provided an opportunity to get ahead of Scratch through a new draft of the story. Two people on a rooftop discuss an upcoming initiation, reflecting on their past misdeeds and expressing confidence about their future advancement. The conversation suggests they were involved in disposing of evidence and covering up crimes. A confrontation occurs where someone named Mr. Casey is held at gunpoint. The captor mentions a mysterious film clip and directs Casey to meet someone called the Grandmaster in a projection booth, claiming this encounter will reveal a new reality. The captor then jumps, leaving Casey confused. The scene shifts to a maze of film equipment where someone searches for the projection booth. The atmosphere becomes increasingly tense and horror-like, with mentions of transferring light between lamps and confronting someone calling themselves the Grandmaster. The narrative becomes increasingly fragmented, with mentions of failing to write a proper return and missing steps in a process. The concept of initiation emerges as a crucial missing element between departure and return, suggesting a structured journey that must be completed. A dramatic revelation occurs where someone claims to be only playing Alex Casey in movies, suggesting the character is fictional. This leads to discussion of a ritual sacrifice and confrontation about reality versus fiction. The story intensifies as visions begin merging with reality. A character named Saga Anderson is mentioned, and there are references to being trapped and needing to match a horror story genre to progress. A phone conversation reveals a time loop where someone speaks to themselves from the future. Instructions are given about placing photos in a shoebox by a statue to help multiple people, including Alice and Saga Anderson. A tragic revelation shows that Alice has died and the truth about Scratch emerges. The narrator realizes they were caught in a loop and were responsible for haunting Alice, leading to her death. An intense confrontation occurs involving Anderson and someone identified as Wake Scratch. The scene involves power outages, a cell, and attempts to contain a dangerous entity. A plan forms to stop Scratch from using a clicker in Bright Falls. The narrator, now fully awake, must prevent a horror story from becoming reality while dealing with the consequences of bringing both Saga Anderson and Alex Casey into the narrative. The dark horror situation originated from a critical moment in 2010 when a leap of faith was taken for Alice. After 13 years of struggle to escape, Alice died, leading to another inevitable leap into darkness. The situation feels like an endless loop with no clear way out, despite the terrifying consequences that are now fully understood. A book called Return has become the center of attention, being discussed on a book club show. The novel is presented as a masterpiece with premium physical qualities like copper book jacket and high-quality paper stock. The presentation seems unusually focused on the material aspects rather than the content. The mission becomes clear: obtaining a copy of Return and reaching the writer's room visible in the book's photo is crucial to rewriting its ending. The town appears to be in a warped reality where everything revolves around Return's publication. This twisted situation needs to be stopped before it spreads further. An encounter with Rose from the diner reveals she believes she's been receiving secret messages. She directs attention upstairs to the writer's room in the attic. The situation grows more complex with the appearance of cryptic guidance about water being both life-giving and dangerous. In the writer's room, there is one chance to craft the perfect ending that will save everyone from an eternal nightmare. The task requires balancing the horror genre conventions with saving as many people as possible, particularly Logan and Casey. The cost of saving people must be balanced with a dark price that must be paid. The scene shifts dramatically to a mind place where everything feels lost and disconnected. There is deep confusion about reality and a sense of failure regarding Casey being taken over by darkness and being thrown into Cauldron Lake. The situation appears increasingly hopeless. Through intense internal struggle and facing deep fears, there's a realization that giving up isn't an option. Despite mistakes and imperfections, the only way forward is to face the nightmare head-on and find a way back home to save everyone who needs help. A mysterious phone call directs attention to a crucial shoebox at Parliament Tower Plaza. A conversation with Sheriff Breaker reveals information about someone named Warland Dorr, who seems to be a powerful entity connected to reality-shifting abilities and the Dark Place, which reflects all possible realities. The scene shifts to Caldera Street Plaza, where someone walks across rain-slicked tiles to reach a construction yard. A poster for a talk show hangs on a door that might lead to Parliament Tower Plaza. The destination becomes clearer. They need to reach the street and locate a specific statue. The conversation continues about crafting the perfect ending, emphasizing the need for it to emerge from pre-existing story elements. The genre constraints of horror are discussed, highlighting the typical roles of victims and monsters, while exploring the possibility of introducing a hero despite the heavy price that must be paid. A plan develops to save Casey by establishing that as a real person, rather than a created character, he cannot be a suitable host for the dark presence. The discussion emphasizes that any ending must be properly set up and supported by the story's evidence to be effective. The narrative evolves into a collaborative effort to create an ending that belongs to multiple participants. The theme of heroism emerges, acknowledging past victories against dark forces and the importance of working together rather than alone. The final confrontation begins with the clicker and bullet of light in hand. The scene describes a descent into dark waters, facing shadows and seeking truth in a moment of blinding revelation. The stakes are high, as the hero prepares to make the ultimate sacrifice. The story concludes with a personal revelation about previous events in Bright Falls, describing memories of being trapped in a dark lake filled with echoes and repetitive loops. Hope appears in the form of light, suggesting a path toward either destruction or ascension, with the narrative structure revealed not as a simple loop, but as a spiral toward resolution.